I'm Bella, a 33-year-old remote worker currently living with my parents, juggling daily responsibilities while being single. My immediate family consists of my parents and my brother Zach, who got married last year. I always assumed Zach and his wife Mia were enjoying a happy marriage, but lately Mia has been visiting our place more frequently. Although the house originally belonged to my in-laws, I started to wonder if Mia might feel uneasy during her early visits. Yet, she always seemed comfortable and never acted nervous. Unlike me, who often feels intimidated by her striking looks and self-assured manner. Mia has a knack for making me feel like one of her own, and during our honest, laid-back chats, she once casually asked why I never dated anyone. She even wondered if I felt awkward around men. I explained that my remote job rarely gives me chances to interact socially, which makes meeting new people or going to events quite difficult. Mia listened carefully, sympathized with my situation, and even offered to help by giving me advice on makeup and fashion to boost my self-esteem. Her caring attitude made me feel almost like I had a real sister, and she urged me to step out of my comfort zone, upgrade my style, and be prepared to impress the right person when they come along. I truly appreciated her support and the proactive tips she offered. At home, I usually tie my hair back with a bandana while I work, a simple but effective way to stay focused. Mia's words made me think about the basics of looking good and the little adjustments I could make even when I work from home. Since I spend most of my time indoors, I rarely wear makeup. I just keep my skin healthy, and there's rarely a need to dress up. My usual outfit is comfortable loungewear, and it's hard to imagine me going out in anything else. Since Mia mostly sees me in this relaxed look, she might not know how I dress for more formal occasions. In fact, at Zach's wedding and other major family events, I always make an effort to put on proper makeup and dress nicely. But it seemed that Mia had overlooked all that effort. One day, full of energy, Mia suggested we go through my wardrobe. "Let's check out your closet, Bella," she said. And without waiting for my permission, she strode into my room and began examining every detail of my closet. I paused for a moment, wondering if I should ask her to stop, but realizing her heart was in the right place, I decided to just watch. I don't own a huge collection, but I choose my clothes carefully, making sure everything fits my style and my favorite brands are all neatly arranged. This visibly surprised Mia. "Wow, I never expected you to have such nice clothes, and your makeup collection is really impressive too," she commented, clearly impressed. She had always assumed the brands I liked were too expensive for someone like me. As Mia continued her exploration, she talked about every piece of clothing and even inspected my makeup case. After about an hour, when her enthusiasm seemed to be a little overwhelming, I gently interrupted her. "Mia, it's about time," I suggested. Realizing she'd gotten carried away, she apologized. "I got too excited looking through your things," she admitted, and added that there was no need for new purchases. Mia had even pulled out all my winter clothes for inspection, leaving them scattered around a bit, a mess she didn't bother to fix. "No, I pick out my makeup on my own," I explained defensively, noting that my sensitive skin means I've tried many brands and finally settled on a few that work well. Mia looked surprised and said, "With makeup this high quality, it seems you rarely go out and thus don't use it much, right?" I nodded and admitted, "Yes, honestly, I hardly wear makeup unless it's a special occasion." When I reiterated that I only use it when absolutely necessary, Mia didn't seem satisfied. She firmly stated, "That won't do. Next time I see you, I'm going to show you some makeup tricks." As Mia continued rifling through my closet and the evening grew near, she finally decided it was time to leave. I couldn't help but wonder how often she visited. Could it be that something wasn't right between her and Zach? That thought troubled me. Why would she be coming here so frequently if her relationship with my brother was on shaky ground? I couldn't quite figure out Mia's true intentions, and I was left scratching my head. Meanwhile, my parents welcomed her visits with open arms, treating her like a beloved family member. "Isn't it nice that Bella has an older sister?" they said with cheerful excitement, adding that they looked forward to Mia giving me makeup lessons next time. They did caution, though, that it wasn't good for me to depend too much on Mia. I agreed, even though I felt conflicted inside. Truth be told, I had never really asked for makeup advice from Mia. My life is too hectic to focus on romance or elaborate beauty routines. Her offer was entirely her own idea. In the past, I often got swept up in Mia's burst of spontaneous ideas, and while my parents saw it as supportive, I sometimes wished she would respect my need for some personal space, especially since I was so focused on my work-from-home life. Still, it was hard to say no to her suggestions. Talking it over with my parents, who were always so welcoming towards Mia, felt intimidating. With all these heavy thoughts swirling around, I went back to my room and started tidying up the winter clothes Mia had left scattered around. As I folded and stored each piece, I suddenly noticed that my favorite sweater was missing. "Where's my favorite sweater?" I muttered, a wave of irritation washing over me. I couldn't remember ever getting rid of it, and its absence now felt oddly significant amid the chaos of the day. Whenever I update my wardrobe by buying new things, I always make sure to get rid of the old ones responsibly, so I know exactly what I have. I was sure I hadn't thrown away that particular winter sweater, a garment I bought just last year that still looked almost new. I had carefully put it away, knowing exactly where everything was. The last time my closet had been rummaged through was earlier that day when Mia was searching my room. I had stepped out to ask my parents to fix some tea and snack for her, leaving my room unattended for a short while. I later noticed that Mia had even brought her bag into my room, which might explain how she could hide something without being seen. But outright accusing her of theft felt too rash without solid proof. Even though I felt a bit powerless, I was determined not to let it happen again. A month after that incident, expecting another visit from Mia, I set up a discreet security camera. Sure enough, Mia dropped by again, cheerfully announcing that she was going to give a makeup tutorial. She dove back into my closet, playing with my cherished makeup items, and soon had me sitting on the floor for a lesson using her own collection. Since I wasn't planning on leaving that day, I went to wash off the makeup shortly after her session ended. During that break, Mia gathered her things and said she was ready to go. I called out, "I made some tea and snacks in the living room. Please grab some before you leave," just to make sure she really left before I went back to my computer. I was extra cautious this time because of the new camera I'd hidden in my room to stop any more incidents. When I reviewed the footage later, my heart sank as I saw Mia subtly slip several makeup items, including some rarely used nail polishes, into her bag. It appeared she thought these small thefts wouldn't be noticed. Disheartened and in disbelief, I saved the video on my phone as evidence for the future. I then went to the living room to talk to my family about what had happened. By coincidence, Zach was there, and as soon as he saw me, he walked over with a worried look. "Bella, it's been a while. I heard you got a makeup lesson from Mia today. Please stop relying on her. You're the reason she keeps coming over," he said. His comment caught me off guard, and I replied, "What?" I never asked Mia for any help. His misunderstanding of the situation only added to my frustration over an already difficult day. The discovery of the stolen makeup made me fume with anger, but things got even worse when Zach suggested that I had been the one inviting Mia over all the time. I never asked Mia to visit. The makeup lesson was entirely her idea, I argued, but he snapped back. "What are you talking about? Mia has been trying so hard to get you in shape because you're a mess." I was stunned and couldn't believe what I was hearing. Then, with a dismissive laugh, Zach added, "I heard from our parents that all you do is sit in front of your computer at home every day. Mia is worried about you. She said your closet is full of expensive clothes and you always have top-notch makeup. Where do you get so much money? You must be taking it from our parents. We can't let you handle things anymore." He continued, "That's why we're taking over the household." His accusation hit me like a ton of bricks. Zach had decided that I was a shut-in, uneducated, and incapable of managing things just because I work from home. But that wasn't true at all. I earn a solid income from my remote job, and my lifestyle doesn't mean I don't participate in society. I always believed my parents understood and supported my choices. When they returned, I immediately told them what Zach had said, hoping they'd calm him down. Instead, they looked troubled, murmuring as if they were deep in thought. I pressed them. "Zach says he's planning to live here. Are you really okay with that?" My dad quietly replied, "If Zach wants to live here, I see no problem." My mom agreed, adding, "Besides, Mia is a wonderful person. It might even be fun for all of us to share this house. Hearing that left me utterly shocked. At that moment, Zach, standing behind me with a smug expression, raised his voice. Unlike you, Bella, someone who just stays at home, I actually earn money and have a wife. Nobody needs someone like you around. I immediately shot back. I'm not just some stay-at-home person. I work remotely. But Zach continued dismissively. Remote work is what pathetic people who've dropped out of society do. It's no different from being a shut-in. His words stung, and I felt the growing rift in our family even more. Today, many companies support remote work, and plenty of people earn a good living from it. Still, these misperceptions and unfounded accusations only made the family tension worse. Although I'm not working for a traditional company, it doesn't make me any less valuable. Still, facing Zach's condescending remarks about my work was painful. All right, the stay-at-home person, he commanded, pack your things and leave. At that moment, our parents exchanged uncertain looks between Zach and me, saying things like, "What should we do?" while hesitating to get involved. It was a truly heartbreaking scene. Everyone seemed charmed by Mia's friendly nature, and maybe she and Zach had planned to have more space for themselves, especially if they were thinking about starting a family. As a single person, I was seen as less likely to have kids, which might have influenced my parents' decision. Although I wasn't entirely sure what my parents truly felt, it was clear that there was no longer a place for me in that house. Keeping my composure and without shedding a tear, I announced, "All right, I'll take my furniture and appliances with me." Zach and Mia were taken aback. "How could someone like you afford furniture and appliances?" Zach asked incredulously. I replied, "Just ask Dad and Mom. Everything we got after you moved out was paid for by me." After that confrontation, I retreated to pack up my things and reached out to some friends for help. Once I left, Zach turned to our parents in disbelief, asking how I managed to get all that furniture, unaware of the full story. Our parents simply smiled and said, "If Bella is called a shut-in, and now you're earning more, we can always buy new stuff if hers are gone." They even mentioned wanting a new massage chair, a luxury I had once dismissed as unnecessary. Our parents have always been optimistic, unfazed by anything, because Zach, who has a stable job, could easily replace whatever I left behind. In fact, despite what the family might think, I've been handling the property taxes on our house for quite a while, a fact I never told Zach. My parents usually keep their struggles to themselves, and as I watched Zach bring up money issues repeatedly, our parents just laughed it off, saying, "We're fine because you're here, Zach." I witnessed that conversation from the stairs while I was busy making calls to finalize my moving plans. The next day, I was all set to move into an apartment I had already secured. Several friends, including one who owns a moving company, agreed to help make the move smoother during this quiet season. As the movers and I packed up everything, Zach and Mia looked on in shock at how events had unfolded. I even instructed the movers to do one last check of the house to make sure nothing was left behind. The day was hectic but organized, and by the end of it all, I was ready to start fresh in a new place, leaving behind all the misunderstandings and hurt from my old home. After confirming that everything was loaded, the moving truck drove off toward my new apartment. A friend who had helped me asked, "Bella, should we head over to your new place?" I reassured him, "No worries at all. I'm happy to help set up my new workspace." Up until then, Mia had been silent, visibly overwhelmed by everything that had happened. Suddenly, she spoke up, "So, you're actually a novelist, and this guy is your editor?" I nodded in confirmation. I explained that I had been planning to leave my parents' house for a while now in order to create a better environment for my writing. It was getting difficult with someone constantly barging into my room, taking my clothes and makeup without permission. I knew I needed to move sooner rather than later, but I'd been stuck because I was busy handling the house taxes. That's when Zach and Mia decided to move in. I looked at Mia and said, "I really appreciate you keeping an eye on our parents. They sure have a habit of gambling. But I'm not going to reveal where my new place is. I just can't stand the thought of my sneaky sister-in-law showing up unannounced." I added, "Oh, and since the house is under my name, I plan to sell it." While talking, I pulled out my phone and showed them a video of Mia stealthily taking my cosmetics and slipping them into her bag. Mia's face went pale as she watched herself on the screen. Zach and our parents, who hadn't known about her actions until now, stared at her with cold, disapproving looks. "It's not what it looks like," Zach stuttered. "Bella, you're shut-in. It seems so odd that you'd have expensive makeup and clothes. I thought I was doing you a favor by taking them." He tried to justify himself, but the evidence was undeniable. Mia had stolen from me, and now everyone knew she was a thief. I shrugged and said, "Well, this is the perfect time to cut ties with everyone." I then got into the car driven by my editor. Just before leaving the driveway, I could see Zach and Mia arguing with our parents. I worried that if they started fighting outside, the neighbors would definitely notice. To make sure I wouldn't be dragged back into their drama, I blocked all their numbers on my phone. Months later, at a book signing event, a thin, tired-looking Mia showed up still wearing the clothes and nail polish she had stolen from me. "I'm really sorry. I need help," she pleaded. I replied firmly, "I'm sorry, but I can't help someone like you without getting back what's mine." Then I walked away. According to what I later heard from acquaintances, after the house was sold, my parents, Zach, and Mia continued living together. However, my parents soon went back to spending extravagantly, which led to financial strain since Zach's income alone couldn't cover everything. I learned that they eventually became demanding and started venting their frustrations on both Mia and Zach. Mia even had to start working to help pay for their expenses, and she became so busy that the idea of having children was completely off the table. Since I wasn't involved anymore, I only occasionally heard about their ongoing problems while I focused on my writing, finally at peace in my new home.